Most brands think recruiting for TikTok Shop is just about blasting DMs or turning on a bot. And to be clear, that can still sometimes work. But if it were my business, I would not rely on that alone anymore. TikTok Shop is far more competitive now. Creators are overwhelmed with offers, agencies are everywhere, and the brands that continue to scale are the ones that are layering in multiple recruitment channels on top of automation. I'm Fernando Campos, and I run a portfolio of supplement brands doing over $500K a month in GMV on Shop alone. And I'm the co-founder of HiveHQ, the leading profit and analytics dashboard built specifically for TikTok Shop sellers. So everyone talks about automated outreach. I'm not going to cover that. I'm breaking down the other ways that top brands actually recruit affiliates, when to use each channel, and where agencies really add value once things get competitive. So in the earlier lessons, we already covered automated affiliate outreach and how to use it properly. So I'm not going to repeat that here. This lesson is what comes next. We talked about that Shop can be extremely competitive. So sometimes relying on a bot alone is honestly not enough. You want to be one of those brands that's more proactive, that's finding creative recruitment channels. And ultimately, this is where the strategy matters. And if you're working with an agency, this is where they can really earn their keep. I'm going to walk you through some of the best ways that I see brands recruiting affiliates and when not to use them. So the first is join brands. With join brands, what's really cool is if you do a social blast, the creators will buy your product and then you're going to reimburse them through the platform. That creates real buyer activity. So your unit sold is going up. And so let's say you buy 50 social blasts, then that means you're going to have 50 creators buy your product. You're going to reimburse them through the platform, but your unit sold is going to go up by 50. And that's huge, especially in the beginning. So what's cool about this is that the creators can post their content on their own accounts, which again gives you the reach. Or if you prefer, they can deliver the videos for you to post on your own branded account if you want full control. Either way honestly works. I would say most brands don't have their branded page fully set up. And so they have the creators posted on their own accounts, which is faster, gives you the distribution. But naturally, that means you're going to also pay commissions. So you can go over here to campaigns. You can go to one-time campaigns, pretty easy. Go to e-commerce. Social blasts is kind of what we're talking about here. And I'll show you retainers as well afterwards. And then you can kind of see different videos. Naturally, you want to tag TikTok Shop because that's what we're focused on here. And you can see how the estimated price is changing. And so that's for 50 posts. So if you go to 100, then it's going to drop down to 25. If you're only doing 10, it's $40 a post. And then this is cool where you can use AI to generate a brief. Or if you already have one, you can provide a link, whatever is easiest for you. If you have example videos, definitely use that again. Then you're going to include your product link here. And then naturally your commission. And then if you want, what's really cool, this is new, but they added performance bonuses. Basically what you can do is based on GMV, you can say like, hey, if you hit 5,000 in sales, I'm going to reward you $500. And so ultimately what you're trying to do is motivate them more. And so it's kind of an interesting structure to help you get more motivation behind the creators. And I think this really works well for the launch. Again, because it's hitting a few different things, right? It's hitting your units sold. It's helping you get that initial content and hopefully motivating them to keep posting for you. And then you can put any special requirements that might be necessary for the brand, anything like that, any captions. This is pretty straightforward. But generally, this is kind of one of the cool options that you have for join brands. Then you can kind of walk through the rest of the setup. The other type of offer that we use sometimes now is the retainer deals. And so you can go over here. Again, you can kind of go through the same process, which is cool. Once you upload your image and the brief, then you can select your content frequency. So I generally would go through the once a day, but you could potentially do some smaller engagements just to do more with the same budget, ideally. So like maybe you're doing once every 2 days for 15 videos a month, that kind of thing. You're doing the monthly salary. I would do like $150 and test it out and see if it works. And then there's an option to do pre-posting content approval. So this can work as well, which is interesting. And then, of course, you need to select your brand name, and then you need to select if shipping is required for your products. Yes, this is going to be required for TikTok Shop. And then, so you would go through here. You're going to attach a brand, and then you basically go through the credit card setup and everything else. And so that's how Join Brands works. And so again, Join Brands is great for kind of kicking things off and driving that early momentum, both in terms of videos, units sold, all that kind of stuff. So the second option is creator groups and communities. So creator groups are great for predictability and speed. Probably works better for more established brands that have bigger budgets. the way that they typically work is they're going to do retainer-based setups where these creators produce a fixed number of videos per month. Yeah, again, around 30 per creator. But ultimately, you're paying a premium. These guys are generating millions and millions a month. Most creator groups are going to charge minimum like 10 to 15K a month. I've seen some go significantly higher where their minimums are like 30, 50K. I even talked to one group that was charging 150K minimum, which is a little crazy. But ultimately, what you're buying is kind of corporate team. So they have like content strategists, content coaches, they have account managers. This kind of works like is similar to like an agency would. And they have like a lot of the best creators on shop, right? And so these are not like a lot of the newbies that are, doing $200 a month in GMV. These are like, a lot of them have like kind of floors where they're not really taking people on that are under like 10 to 15K. And each group is going to have different qualifications, whether like they're going to accept certain brands or maybe they need to see that the product has sold a certain amount of units. Yeah, it just kind of varies. But yeah, one really important thing is that the downside about these groups is the performance varies a ton. Let's say you're a brand like Goalie, right? You can test a bunch of different groups because you have the budget and you've scaled to like now one of the top shops on all of TikTok, right? But every group that has worked with them is going to claim like I work with Goalie or have worked with Goalie. But you don't know if they're the group that like really scaled them up or if they're one that like, tested once and, they never came back. And the more important thing is that like, just because they were able to scale Goalie or perform with Goalie, one of the top brands, doesn't mean that they're going to actually be able to perform for your brand, assuming it's much smaller. So yeah, those are just things to keep in mind. Okay, so the third option is manual outreach. So this is one of the highest quality ways to recruit affiliates when done correctly. You can use tools like Halo Data, FastMoss to see which creators are driving GMV for your competitors, then reach out through TikTok DMs, Instagram, cold email, you name it. So a few of the mistakes that I see brands doing is they're chasing the biggest creators in this space. They're going after, let's say, micro ingredients, and they're going to look at their top 50 creators and they're just going to reach out to them. And these guys are doing like hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in GMV. And those creators are heavily supported. And those brands have like really structured kind of like coaching and content programs. And so it's gonna be super hard to pull them away, right? Like if you're making 20, 30K in commissions a month working for one of these top brands, like, are you going to want to go start creating content for like a brand new brand that hasn't been proven? Probably not, right? And so instead, what I would do is go a few notches down, quite a few, right? And then maybe go after brands around the same size as you, or maybe in the let's just call it like 30 to 100K a month in GMV, and start going after their creators. And yeah, again, going through like their top creators, maybe everyone that's doing between 5 and 50K a month in GMV. But because they're actually promoting smaller brands, they're much more likely to want to take a smaller brand that's in the same niche that has like a similar type of product and that has a similar type of audience. Since that product has worked for that creator, if you're in a similar niche, then maybe they're more likely to now test you out. But yeah, ultimately, these creators are going to be far more approachable, less bogged down by infrastructure, and yeah, more likely to partner with you. And then the fourth option is tap campaigns. So this one's a little confusing. Sometimes you'll hear them referred to as tap links. TikTok calls the program CAP. Social Army is a good example of an agency that's operating in the space. And so in this model, there's kind of an agency that sits between you and the creator. And so the agency recruits the creators, creates the tap or the tap link, and then they take a percentage of the commission. And this is a great way to discover new creators at scale without doing a lot of the outreach yourself. There's a whole section within TikTok Shop. But yeah, once you're in the affiliate center, you can go into the work with partners, and then you can see different partners that you can potentially work with. So you can initiate your own campaign, which is cool, and that could potentially work. You might as well. And it's pretty straightforward in terms of setting up the campaign. You're going to say you want to drive TikTok Shop sales. You're going to add a description, the time frames. I would probably put it open so that any agency can join. And then you can do an exclusive, so it's some kind of discount, stuff like that, and then put in the contact information, all that stuff. And then you can also join existing campaigns. And so you can kind of go through here and search the different campaigns. And sometimes your product will get picked up. But yeah, they're going to have different requirements. They're going to say, sometimes it's for food and beverage brands, sometimes it's for supplement brands, that kind of stuff. So I would kind of go through here as well and join. And then sometimes you'll be eligible for these broader campaigns. This is usually for larger shops, but TikTok might have their own like kind of tap campaigns that you can enroll in, which is great as well. So some things to look out for here is that some agencies don't split the standard and ads commission, which means that you end up paying the higher commission on every sale. So definitely be really careful about that. And then the other thing is that while these agencies can be great for discovery, you probably don't want your creators to live there forever, since like the agencies are taking a cut. If you have a close relationship with the agency, then yeah, obviously keep the relationship with the agency. But if the agency you're not really working with and they're not really adding value in terms of coaching the creators and bringing you more creators, then it might make sense to work directly with the creator, send them a target collab invite, build a relationship with them directly so that they're getting the full commission percentage. Yeah, I think the last thing is that tap campaigns are great. You might as well set them up. It's like kind of like a set it and forget it thing. It doesn't require a ton of work, truthfully. You're just kind of deciding a number of samples that is eligible for the campaign. But on the flip side, it's not going to make the channel for you. So it's just like a little additional creative and it's a little additional affiliates. But ultimately, you kind of need to be hitting on the creator groups and the automated outreach and all that kind of stuff to really pick up the channel. So these are some of the ways you can recruit more affiliates to your brand. Hope that was helpful. So the main takeaway is simple. Automation is the foundation, but it's no longer something you should rely on by itself. The brands that win combine multiple recruitment channels and use each one for the job it's best at. If you found this helpful, please hit subscribe. We're a small but growing channel, and that really helps us keep putting these videos out. And if you ever want to go deeper on TikTok Shop strategy, there's a free link in the description below to schedule a call with me. Now I'll see you guys in the next video that is an introduction to GMV Max and how to scale it.